Good afternoon, friends. I am today. I am just going to deal with again a few comprehension passage, and I will be discussing the passages with answers. And I think like you will be preparing in a very rapid manner since the exams are nearing, and I see like through online courses more effort has been taken by your principal and by the institution kind of. Okay, and so whatever like we teachers can do for you through online, we will support you. But apart from support, getting support from the teachers, I think you have to put a lot of effort on your side. And what you have to do is you need to prepare whatever you prepare in the very hardest manner, and that would give you most fruitful efforts. Okay, and apart from the other things like your general knowledge and your main paper and your other reasoning and logical part of it, like as I every time tell you, reading comprehension is also an important part where you have to read a lot and lot. That is why I am just putting one or two passages. I am sharing one or two passages, and these passages will be available on YouTube, and whenever you want to just read something, you go read on these passages, because I am giving you the toughest passages which will be useful for you when you appear for your second paper. And these passages, even if you read for one or two times, the reading speed may get increased, because I share these passages with the tough words, difficult phrases, and long sentences, and very big passages, so that it will be going from the toughest to the easy would be the better way of reading. So you read all the passages shared with you again and again, and so that you can develop the reading speed. Okay, and these passages are not going to be seen in your question papers, but these are all the practice question papers. These are all the practice passages where these passages will help you a lot in increasing your reading speed. Okay, and so today also I'm going to just share with you a few passages with answers. That is it. Okay, I'm going to read the passage and I'm going to discuss the answer. The passages are almost like it is taken only from the net sources. Okay, and since you cannot go search for these passages every time, I have just picked up a few passages for your reference, and I will read the passage and then we will discuss the answer. Okay, and all these questions and answers, the passages, you have to read keeping in mind the basic like what are all the questions, the factual questions, the idea questions, the corollary questions, the inference questions. All these you have to keep it in mind, and then you have to continue reading. Maybe like these questions which we are discussing in the class may not have such questions and answers, but the ultimate purpose of giving this passages is only for practice. Okay, so I'm going to give you, I will start presenting with the passage for you now, and we can just read the passage and then discuss the answers. Okay, maybe one or two for today. Okay, we'll go to the passages I'm going to share. Okay, right. Can you see the screen? Can the screen be shared? Okay. Okay, here is a passage. Okay, this passage. I will just go through the passage, and then you can, when you come to the questions, you will know what the passage is about and what. Okay. That large animals require luxuriant vegetation, that has been a general assumption which has passed from one work to another. But I do not hesitate to say that it is completely false and that it has vitiated the reasoning of geologists on some points. Great interest in the ancient history of the world. The prejudice has probably been derived from India, and the Indian islands were troop of elephants elephants noble forest and impenetrable jungles are associated together in everyone's mind. If, however, we refer to any work of travels through the southern parts of Africa, we shall find allusions in every page either to the desert character of the country or to the number of large animals inhabiting it. The same thing is rendered evident by the many engravings which have been published in various parts of the interior. Okay, so what is this passage? What is the beginning of the passage we discuss? Just you have to that is how the animals vegetate in the forest. Okay, and which country is it referred to? And we understand it is southern parts of Africa. Dr. Andrew Smith, who has lately succeeded in passing the Tropic of Capricorn, informs me that taking into consideration the whole of the southern part of Africa, there can be no doubt of its being a sterile country. Africa is almost a sterile country, he says, like Dr. Andrew Smith. Okay, Dr. Andrew Smith, who has lately succeeded in passing the Tropic of Capricorn. Okay, so all these information you should know. So when you read a passage, you must like when you practice a passage, when you practice reading a passage, you must just refer to just the informative sources, or the sources of information are available very much in the net. You can just go and find out who is Dr. Andrew Smith. Okay, and he is a person who has studied the Tropic of Capricorn kind of. Okay, on the southern coast there are some fine forests, but with these exceptions, the traveler may pass for days together through open plains covered by poor and scanty vegetation. Now, if we look to the animals inhabiting these wide plains, we shall find their numbers extraordinarily great and their bulk immense. It may be supposed that although the species are numerous, the individuals of each kind are few. By the kindness of Dr. Smith, I am enabled to show that the case is very different. He informs me that in one day's march with the bullock wagons, he saw, without wandering to any great distance on either side, between 100 and 150 rhinoceroses. The same day he saw several herds of giraffes amounting together to nearly 100. At the distance of a little more than 1 hour march from their place of encampment of the previous night, he partly actually killed 8 hippopotamuses at one spot and saw many more. In the same river, there were like crocodiles. Of course, it was a case quite extraordinary to see so many great animals crowded together, but it evidently proves that they must exist in great numbers. Dr. Smith describes that the country passed through the day as being thinly covered with grass and bushes about 4 feet high, and still more thinly with mimosa trees. Besides these animals, anyone that is acquainted with the natural history of the Cape has read of the herds and antelopes which can be compared only with the flocks of migratory birds. The numbers indeed of the lion, panther and hyena, and the multitude of birds of prey plainly speak of the abundance of the smaller quadrupeds. Okay, so you have to just go through the words also. You have to just remember the meaning of the words which we are going through. Okay, one evening, 7 lions were counted at the same time, prowling round Dr. Smith's encampment. As this enabled naturalist remarked to me, each day the carnage in southern Africa must indeed be terrific. I confess that truly surprising how such a number of animals can find support in a country producing so little food. The larger quadrupeds, no doubt, roam over wide tracts in search of it, and their food chiefly consists of underwood, which probably contains many nutrients in a small bulk. Dr. Smith also informs me that the vegetation has a rapid growth. No sooner it is a part consumed than its place is supplied by a fresh stock. There can be no doubt, however, that our ideas respecting the apparent amount of food necessary for the support of large quadrupeds are much exaggerated. The belief that where large quadrupeds exist, the vegetation must necessarily be luxuriant is more remarkable because the converse is far from true. Mr. Bushell observed me that when entering Brazil, nothing struck him more forcibly than the splendor of the South American vegetation contrasted with that of South Africa. Together with the absence of all large quadrupeds. In his travels, he has suggested that the comparison of the respective weights, if there were sufficient data, of an equal number of large herbivorous quadrupeds in each country would be extremely curious. If we take on one side the elephants, hippopotamus, giraffes, bos heifer, eland, 5 species of rhinoceros, and on the American side 2 tapirs, the quecano, 3 deer, and vicono, peccari. All these are the inhabitants of the forest. Okay, all these are names of the inhabitants of the forest, after which we must choose from the monkeys to complete the number and then place these two groups alongside each other. It is not easy to conceive ranks more disproportionate in size. Okay, so you have to test the vegetation. You have to find out with that of this how he has come across the herbivorous quadrupeds, okay, of the each country, and how he has studied, okay, as a natural lover or a vegetation lover, how he has studied the animals in the Tropic of Capricorn and during his travels. Okay, after the above facts, we are compelled to conclude against the anterior probability that among the mammalia there exists no close relation between the bulk of other species and the quantity of the vegetation in the countries which they inhabit. Okay. So this is one passage taken for you from for a sample paper. Okay, this is from Charles Darwin's Voyage of the Beagle. Okay, so this passage is taken from Charles Darwin. Okay, so Charles Darwin, he is just telling his experience with his friend, okay, Dr. Andrew Smith. Okay, now coming to the discussion question. Okay, so what is the primary concern of the author? After regraphs, we are here to see, now we go into the question and the answers. Okay, let us see what are the answers, what are the question asked. Okay, after reading all the 8 paragraphs, okay, we must now ready to answer the questions. Let us discuss the questions now. What is the primary concern of the author? There are 4 options given. Discussing the relationship between the size of mammals and the nature of vegetation in their habitats. Number 1. Contrasting ecological conditions in India and Africa. Definitely not. Nowhere India has been discussed in the passages. Proving that large animals do not require much food. Okay, it is not that is not also not a valid point. Okay, large animals so small animals so, okay, they need food to live. Describing the size of animals in various parts of the world. Okay, now we have to understand, we have to just think over what did we read. Okay, we were just reading about the animals and the size of the animals in different continents. Okay, and also the nature of vegetation in their habitats. Okay, that is what have been discussed. Okay, so not they are the author did not just discuss about the size of the animals, or the C answer is not right. The answer would be, the correct answer would be discussing the relationship between the size of mammals and the nature of vegetation. That is what been discussed in the passage. That is the prime concern of the author. Okay, next, according to the author, what has led to the prejudice? What do you mean by prejudice? First, okay, what is prejudice? So you must know the meaning of the word prejudice. Only when you know the meaning of the word prejudice, then the options, you can come to the options and find out the correct answer. Okay, according to the author, what has led to the prejudice? What has led to prejudice? Prejudice means being means like proud, being proud. Okay, and bringing out some kind of a difference in their prideness. Okay, that is prejudice. So errors in reasoning of biologists, false ideas about animals in Africa, incorrect assumptions of the part of geologists, doubt in the mind of the author. What would be, what has led to the prejudice according to the author? What has led to the prejudice? Okay, what has led to the wrong proudness of? Okay, that is prejudice, extreme pride. Okay, so what is it? False ideas about animals in Africa. Okay, false ideas. I think false ideas about animals in Africa would be the correct answer, because that is what has been discussed in the passage. Okay, right. Next, we go to the third question. Why are the flocks of migratory birds mentioned in the passage? Why are the birds mentioned in the passage? So where are the birds? Where, like, in which part of the passage? There are 8 paragraphs given, and in which paragraph it is given, the migratory birds? Why are the flocks of migratory birds mentioned in the passage? Why? To describe an aspect of fauna of South Africa, to illustrate a possible source of food for large carnivores, or to contrast with the habits of the antelope, or to suggest the size of antelope herds. Why? Why? Let us go and find from the passage answer. Go back to the passage. Just to find out where the passage, just find out where the author has discussed about the migratory birds. See, in the 5th paragraph. Okay, can you see? Can you just go through the passage? In the 6th paragraph, he is talking about, okay, beside these animals, right? Besides these large animals, anyone the least acquainted with the natural history of the Cape has read of the herd of antelopes, which can be compared only with the flock of migratory birds. Okay, so the numbers indeed of the lion, panther, and hyena. See, lion, panther, and hyena, and the multitude of birds of prey. Plainly speaking, the abundance. Okay, so to contrast with the habits of the antelope. Okay, to contrast with the to bring in a contrast with the herds of with the habits of antelope, the flock of migratory birds have been introduced in the passage by the author. Okay, we will go to the next question. What is the next question about it? Why does Darwin quote Bushell's observation? Okay, he was discussing about Dr. Andrew Smith. Okay, and the passage is about Dr. Andrew Smith, who visited the natural habitat phenomena and all those things. Okay, and between this is the passage written by Dr. Darwin. As I told you, the passage, the source of the passage have been given in the passage, the end of the passage. Okay, so why does Darwin quote Bushell? What is the necessity of quoting Bushell's observation here? Okay, in order to illustrate. Okay, so any writer, when he just gives information, okay, he must support his idea with illustrations. That is very, very important. Okay, so anything which is being discussed as a passage or as a writing, okay, needs more illustration. Okay, and so Darwin has quoted Bushell's observation in order to illustrate the well-known phenomena, just giving this has been already discussed by me. So it is not to counter a misconception or to describe a region of great splendor like Africa, America kind of thing. Or he does not want to prove a hypothesis, but he just wants to illustrate the well-known phenomena. That is why he has also quoted Bushell's observation here. Okay, next question. What struck Mr. Bushell when he entered Brazil? Okay, so that is a very open question. Okay, when you go to the passage, you can find out what struck Michel Bushell when he entered Brazil. Okay, he found that South American vegetation contrasted with South Africa. That is what his findings. Okay, Bushell's findings were when he entered Brazil, he found out that South American vegetation contrasted with that of South Africa. When he entered into Africa, he found out that. Okay, that is what. Okay, South African, he just South African vegetation. He did not wonder at South African vegetation. He did not find out the presence of all large quadrupeds. Okay, he did not find out the equal number of large herbivorous quadrupeds. He found that the South then Mr. Bushell, he belongs to America, and when he entered into Brazil to South Africa, when he came into South Africa, he found out that the contrast between the vegetation, the vegetation contrast between South America and that of the South Africa. That is very well in the passage. Okay, right. Okay, what prejudice has vitiated the reasoning of geologist? Okay, so this is a kind of question answer. Okay, all those are options. Okay, so in order to understand, bring in an understanding in a better way. Okay, what prejudice? Okay, prejudice that large animals require luxuriant vegetation. That is what has been the geologist has come out with a reasoning of. Okay, so the large animals need a luxuriant vegetation. That is what has been prejudiced in the passage. Why does Dr. Smith refer to Africa as a sterile country? Why? Okay, because many people, they just go through, the travelers, they pass through the country for many days together. Okay, and they together in the open place. Okay, and they are covered by a poor and scanty vegetation. Okay, so Africa is a sterile country. Okay, it is a sterile country because the people, there are more open plains. Okay, and it is covered by poor and scanty vegetation. Okay, why is the carnage referred to by rabbit? Okay, what is the carnage referred by Dr. Smith? Okay, that is many animals killed by the predators. Okay, predators means like animals like lion, tiger, all those things that are killed by, they are the carnages. What does Darwin remark if there was sufficient data indicate? Okay, these are the answers which you can find out if you read the passage. Okay, so question and answers, like it may be a different thing for you because you may concentrate only on the options. Okay, so the answers for these questions will not not be direct in the passage, but you can go back and read and find out. Okay, so what is the carnage referred by? What does Darwin's remark, if there were sufficient data, indicate? Okay, he indicates that comparison of the weights of herbivores is largely speculative. That is what he is indicating. Okay, to account for the surprising number of animals in the country producing so little food, what partial explanation does Darwin suggest? Okay, he suggests that food requirements have been more estimated, and he also suggests that rapid growth of plant material is necessary. Okay, surprising number of animals in the country producing so little food. What is the partial explanation? Okay, that is that is the number of animals increase, and the country is producing so little food. So he suggests that food requirements have been overestimated, and he suggests that more plant material has to be cultivated. Okay, growth. There should be a rapid growth of thing. Okay, right. From the word, find the word from the passage, paraphrase, which means the violent killing of large number of people. That is carnage. Okay, so violent killing of large number of people is carnage. Carnage. That means killing of that is the animals and the people killed by the predators. That is the wild animals in the forest. That is the name. That is the word. The vocabulary is carnage. Okay. Find the word from next is animals that have four legs. Animals that has four legs are otherwise called as quadrupeds. Okay, quadrupeds are otherwise called as the animals that have four legs. Okay. So with this passage gets over. Okay, we will go to another passage because we have more time left out. Okay, I think you can go through, as this passage would be recorded for you for your future reference. Or you can also go through the passage and read the passage once again and find out the answers and read for your own. Okay, again read again and again. You read for your own and find out the answers. Okay, so with this we will go to the next passage. Here is another passage with answers. Okay, so let us read the passage and then we will discuss the answers. Okay. See a small interesting passage. White House Security entrance is 12:15 p.m. on Tuesday, October 17th. There are 6 Indians in immaculate sherwanis that the Secret Service is trying to clear through by matching their passports or driving license to the information that they have on their computers. 4 clear and 2 have problems. One of them is me. The problem is my passport has no last name. Even though I have met with candidate Trump, President-elect Trump, and that President Trump at least a dozen times, it has never been at the White House. Okay, Diwali at the White House was scheduled to begin at 3:15 p.m. For 30 minutes, 4 different White House officials tried to get me clear, but these Secret Service guys refused to break the protocol, no matter who they visited. It is 3 p.m. now. Finally, seeing no solution in the right, the Secret Service offered a way out. I could go in as long as I am escorted by an official all the time. 3 members of our group, has 6, had already gone in, and finally, the rest of us dashed to the Roosevelt room right next to the Oval Office just in time at 3:30 p.m. There were a total of 26 guests, most of them currently working for the Trump administration, such as Nikki Haley, Seema Verma, Ajit Pai, Raj Shah, Vanilla Singh, along with 6 members of Republic Hindu coalition that had played a major role in the election of President Trump. I am the RHC, the Indian ambassador. After a 10-minute wait in the Roosevelt room, so 26 of us line up in the Oval Office. President Trump walks in and comes over to us. The Kumar family, which includes my dad, Salab Shali Kumar, his son Vikram Aditya Kumar, and of course me. The president then proceeded to read his statement and light the diya with Nikki Haley and Seema Verma to his right, Shalab Kumar, and me to his left. The writer is the RHC Indian ambassador and winner of the Times of India Miss Femina Miss India Contest 2010. Okay, now on the basis of the reading of the passage, answer the following questions by choosing the best of the group. This is a very, very easy passage. We will just brush up and we will go to the next. Okay. The crisis the author describes in the opening paragraph, in that the author and the 5 Indians. Okay. What is a very simple question? Okay. What would be the answer? Do not have valid passports or not suitably dressed. The information in the document does not match the information US security officials have. They are late for the function. Okay, what would be the answer? Obviously, the third. Okay, next. Finally, the White House security officials allowed the author to enter the White House if she could prove that she had met President Trump several times earlier. She went in without a camera or a microphone. Security officer remained with her all the time. Her father, Shalab Kumar, took guarantee of her behavior. What would be the correct answer? Finally, how did the White House security official give? Okay, she want they'll be the security officer remained with her all the time. The author was part of 26-member team that celebrates Diwali with President Trump because she why? Okay. Right, belonged to the Kumar family, was ambassador of RHS, neither of this, both of this. She was the both. She belonged to both group. Okay, right. Where was the Diwali celebrations were held? Okay, on the lawns of the White House, in the Roosevelt room, in the Oval Office, in President Trump's drawing room. Very obvious question. In the Oval Office. Scheduled in paragraph 2 means, what do you mean by the word scheduled? Okay, what is scheduled? Arranged, decided, looked after, or stationary. Okay, it has been arranged. Okay, dash in paragraph 2 means, okay, reach on time, rush, wait, and play color. Okay, what would be the answer? Reach on time, rush, wait, play, color. Okay, dash in para 2 means, okay, reach on time. The answer is not given the right form. Okay, next. All right, there is one more question. Let us see. Okay, find the words that are meaning similar to extremely clean and tidy, immaculate, accompanied, escort. Okay, so these are this is how we can answer the questions. Okay. Okay, next. Delhi tried very hard, but it wasn't enough. In the run-up to D-Day, the sound of firecrackers had not been heard. Supreme Court ban on sales and made procuring them difficult, but many people, including school children, had resolved to buck tradition for clean air. Until 7 p.m. On Diwali, most neighborhoods were quiet. Around that time, the first sound of firecrackers going off was heard, and gradually it rose to a crescendo. But it was nowhere near the blitzkrieg of the past, not even half of that. And well before midnight, it was all over. Okay, so this is again about the Diwali celebrations. Okay, and why do I just concentrate on such a few passages were real easy passages? There are some words which you need to, that means the vocabulary part of it you have to definitely go through. Okay, that's why I'm just reading, okay, all these passages for you. The bad news broke at dawn. It was a visibly smoggy morning. Air pollution was like Delhi. Almost all of us know it is already it is very smoggy. It is filled with smog either. So during that Diwali time, the entire city would be completely foggy. Okay, so air pollution it levels to the peak. Okay, and severe on Diwali night and remain dangerously high till Friday afternoon, as reflected in the real-time monitoring data of Central Pollution Control Board (CPCB) and Delhi Pollution Control Committee (DPCC). All these abbreviations you can just note them. The CPCB, however, pointed out a silver lining. It said that air quality index (AQI), okay, air quality index. Just learn the abbreviations also. Air quality index this year was better than the ones on Diwali in the past 2 years, in spite of hostile meteorological conditions. On Diwali last year, maybe 2016, this is the data given in the year 2016. The average AQI, okay, air quality index for the city was a severe category at 426. Okay, only after a rapid increase in this air quality breakup, serious discussions were being made that no firecrackers will be used by the people, like by the people during the Diwali celebrations. Okay, and while the year before, that is 2050, it had been the very poor category at 327. This time it was marginally lower at 326. There are so many factors impacting air quality, from the speed and direction of the wind to burning of crop stubble in neighboring states, that it is difficult to definitely identify the main culprit. What, however, has been acknowledged is that at least a majority of people will have to stick to what may appear to be unpalatable decisions for better quality of life. The data, however, is making informed observers worry, particularly the massive peaks in particulate matter, 2.5 fine respirable pollution particles, and PM10 coarse pollution particles levels on Thursday night after 10 p.m. Delhi peaked to 656 micrograms per cubic meters around midnight. However, the data also shows that in spite of unfavorable meteorological conditions, the air quality on Diwali this year was better than last year. It had been so good in the 2 days preceding Diwali due to intrusion of humid air from the southeast, coupled with prevailing calm wind conditions. The average mixing height recorded on October 18 and 19 were 547 meters. Okay, and just read on this. Okay, see, in the run up within the sound of fire could not be held because of why was not it held? Supreme Court banned the sales of firecrackers. Children resolved back to tradition to clean air. Neighbors did not like the sound of firecrackers. It was Supreme Court banned. Okay. The bad news that broke down day was that the smog was high in the air. The air pollution levels were dangerously high. CPCB released real-time figures were alarming. All of the above. Yes, all of the above. Okay. The bad news broke at the dawn after the Diwali day night. Okay. So everything, there was smog in the sky. Air pollution levels were high. CBC realized real-time figures that were alarming. All these things. Okay. Next question. The quality index, the air quality index level after Diwali this year was, okay, the same as the other years, higher than the other years, lower than the other years, lower. Okay, because the discussion shows that 2015 it was higher, 400 plus, and the next year the year which was discussed now has been lower. Okay, so it is lower than the other years. Okay, there will be no air pollution if, okay, so school children do not burst crackers on Diwali. There is a strong wind on Diwali night. The motor vehicles do not run on Diwali. None of the above. Okay, all these answers are there will be no air pollution if, okay, no answer is given. Okay, all these cannot be the correct answers. Okay, so none of the above. Crescendo. What do you mean by crescendo? Okay, means, right, to happen successfully or to increase in intensity, better quality of life, meteorology. What is crescendo? Crescendo is going to the topmost. Okay, increase level. Okay, increase in the intensity. Unpalatable. What is unpalatable in para 4 means? Okay, unpalatable. Okay, palatable means pleasant. Okay, unpalatable, not pleasant. Okay, the meaning of palatable. Next. Okay, look at okay, then they have given you some true or false sentences. Massive peak. Okay, all these may be the direct correct. Okay, then the direct answers will be given in the passage. Okay, right. Next, we'll go to the next one. Small passages only we are just discussing. In 6 months, road users in Kathmandu, the capital of Nepal, have learned that to cringe at using the car horn unnecessarily. This is a car horn, using car horn. Okay, I feel embarrassed now when I occasionally blow the horn, said Rajaram Dangal, the hotel manager. I feel like people are staring at me from all around. Clearly, the traffic police's slogans of let's be civilized, let's not use the horn is working. Making Dangal give up his instinctive action in the wheel has not been easy. Like in most old South Asian cities, horns seem a matter of life and death in Kathmandu. With its narrow, congested, potholed roads, pedestrians and animals cross the roads at will. There are no traffic lights and no dividers, and yet today you only hear a few stray beeps on the street, even though sound tentative and have none of the aggressive let me through tone that you find in, say, Delhi. The induction of no nonsense officer to head the traffic police, a ban on horns, strict vigilance, a fine of 500, 315 in Indian currency, and threat of public ignominy have brought a degree of silence on the noisy streets. Noise pollution has reached unhealthy highs in the Nepalese capital. After clamping down on honking, 15,500 people have been hauled up. Sarbendra Khan, traffic police chief, said this was achieved despite the cops having no mechanical device to pinpoint the horn sound. And yet, the quietude of sorts is holding out. It's early days still, but I feel mindsets are changing. Khan was optimistic. The government's intent to change the street ambience was enunciated in no less than Connell's selection to head the traffic police soon after the announcement of the ban. What did DIG Connell bring to the table? He has little traffic experience. Rather, the officer has a reputation as an encounter specialist, having crushed 109 criminal outfits in the Terai. It is difficult to extrapolate Connell's renown as a tough cop to the willingness of the people to fall in line. The roads are dense with motorcycles since car prices are prohibitive there. Training in these wheeling two-wheelers was the biggest challenge for Connell and his team. However, it is in all baton and threads. There is a continuing awareness drive which to date has included 9,400 roadside gatherings, 1,230 sessions with bus and truck drivers, and 1,680 visits to schools and colleges. The results are there to see, rather here. The successor proved that tough measures can be implemented. Now, we will go to the passage, or we will go to the question answers. Okay, let us just go through the passage once again. This is about, what is this about? Okay, usage of car horn. Okay, right. Blowing the horn in the street brings out what brings? It's a noise pollution. Okay. So the traffic police slogans: let us be civilized, let us not use the horn. Okay, that is working. That is the slogan of the police. Okay, let us go to the questions. No, the traffic police in Kathmandu has linked not blowing air horns to being civilized, made strict rules against blowing, has used multi-pronged strategy for controlling horn blowing by our drivers, all the three. Not blowing horns on streets of Kathmandu is a matter of life and death because why? It not blowing horns on the streets of Kathmandu is a matter of life and death because it could lead to accident. The roads are narrow, there are no dividers and none of this. Okay, like it's a matter of life and death because the streets of Kathmandu are very narrow. Okay, and not blowing horns on the streets of Kathmandu, they say that it is a matter of life and death because it could lead to accidents. Okay, so without blowing the horn, the motorcyclists or the cars, if they just move on the road in the streets of Kathmandu, it could lead to accidents. The people of Kathmandu are not blowing car horn shows that They are law-abiding. The strategy of strictness combined with educating the population is successful. The police chief's reputation as an encounter specialist is justified. All of the above. It should be the second option. Definitely. Okay. So the people they have learned to not blowing air horns. Okay, because they were being strictly followed by the traffic police and they have been educated also. Okay. Next question. Sarbendra Khanal was chosen to be the chief of traffic police in Kathmandu because why? Okay, why was this particular person to be the chief of the traffic police? Because he was no nonsense officer. He was a no nonsense officer. He was a sensible man. Okay, since he had experience in controlling traffic, no. He was an encounter specialist, no. He was popular among people, no. He was no nonsense officer. He was a sensible person. Okay. Next, what is extrapolate in paragraph means? What is extrapolate? Okay, what is you can just if you find very difficult to find out the answer meaning of certain words. Okay, you can just split the syllabic. Okay, you can just split the words and then find out the answer. You can think about the answer. Extrapolate. Okay, what is extrapolate? Estimate, make. Okay, that is estimate. Raining in paragraph means lot of traffic, controlling, rough measures, intent to change raining. Okay, it is controlling. Okay, that means raining means you know what is the rain? There is the which will be put in the horse's mouth. That's called a rain. Okay, girdle rain. Okay, next is answer the following questions. Okay, see, noise pollution had reached highs in Nepalese capital. Roads are density with motorcycle because car prices are there. Traffic police slogan, let's be released, true or false. Colonel was pessimistic, no nonsense, non-nonsense officer. No, that's a false, he was a no-nonsense officer. Okay, right? Similar from that is finding out the words, controlling, raining, short stick used by policemen, that's the baton, that is the lucky kind of thing. Okay, next. Okay, we will go. There is another very interesting paragraph by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Okay, it is about APJ Abdul Kalam. Okay, so reading this passage, we will wind up for today. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the 11th President of India, was a great scientist. Just see how fast you can read the passage. Okay, I'm just giving you easy passages only for your reading passage. Okay, the practice. Sorry, it is only for the reading practice. I am just sharing all these easiest passages. Okay, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, you have to read the passage with the understanding. Only then you can answer the questions without going into the passage as I do. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the 11th President of India, was a great scientist, teacher, and a writer. He had many books like Ignited Minds, India 2020, Vision India, and the Wings of Fire. He was a source of inspiration for the young and the old alike. Here is an extract from the Wings of Fire, his autobiography, which depicts his early life in his old words. My parents, Zainal Abdul and Ashima, were widely regarded as an ideal couple. My mother's lineage was more distinguished, one of her forebears having been bestowed with the title of Bahadur by the British. I normally ate with my mother sitting on the floor of the kitchen. She would place a banana leaf before me, on which she had a ladle, rice, and aromatic sambar, variety of chaat, homemade pickles, and a dollop of fresh coconut chutney. The famous Shiva temple, which made Rameshwaram so sacred to pilgrims, was about a 10-minute walk from our house. Our locality was predominantly Muslim, but there were quite few Hindu families too, living amicably with their Muslim neighbors. There was a very old mosque in our locality where my father would take me for evening prayers. I had not the faintest idea of the meaning of Arabic prayers chanted, but I was totally convinced that they reached God. When my father came out of the mosque after prayers, people of different religions would be sitting outside waiting for him. Many of them offered bowls of water to my father, who would dip his fingers in them and say a prayer. This water was then carried home for invalids. I also remember people visiting our home to offer thanks for being cured. My father always smiled and thanked them to thank Allah, the benevolent and merciful. The high priest of Rameshwaram temple Pakshi Lakshmana was a very close friend of my father. One of the most vivid memories of my childhood is of the two men, each in his traditional attire, discussing spiritual matters. When I was old enough to ask questions, I asked my father about the relevance of prayer. When you pray, he said, you transcend your body and become a part of cosmos which knows no division of wealth, age, caste, or creed. Now we can answer the question. This is a very small extract from the personal life of Abdul Kalam. Okay, how it is only about the two religion. Okay, there is no difference between, there is no discrimination chain between the two religion, the Hindu and the Muslim, but APJ Abdul Kalam. Okay, that is what being discussed in the passage. Okay, so all of you should read Wings of Fire. Okay, you go read the book Wings of Fire by APJ Abdul Kalam, the autobiography of APJ Abdul Kalam, Agni Siragugal, not in Tamil. Please get a copy in English and read the book Wings of Fire. Okay, a very interesting book and very, very motivating book, of course. Okay. Right, we go to the question. In early childhood, Abdul Kalam sang Arabic prayers because he has no idea about their message. His father would take him to old mosque, was sure the prayer reached God. He was learned. Why did he pray? Why did he pray? Because he did not know how to pray, but something he said Arabic prayers, thinking that his prayers would reach God, or his father would take him to the old mosque, or he know about his father. Since his father took him to the old mosque, he said he practiced Arabic prayers. Alam lived in an area where Muslims were in majority, Hindus were in majority. Muslims and Hindus had hostility. Hostility means enmity. Muslims and Hindus lived in a very friendly manner. Okay, obviously fourth option. Dash in traditional dress, discussed spiritual. Okay, the high priest of Rameshwaram temple, Abdul Kalam's father, Abdul Kalam, a very close friend of Kalam's father, who was dressed in a traditional manner, and they discussed spiritual matters with Pakshi Lakshmana Swami Shastri. Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri actually. Okay, who was in the traditional dress? Who was in the traditional dress? Okay, definitely not the high priest of Rameshwaram temple. It should be Abdul Kalam's father. Why, according to Jainuddin, prayers were important? This is very important. Made from one free from division of wealth, made one aware about one's body and its limitation, made one wise enough to discuss spiritual matters. They are recited in old mosque. Why? Which one? Made one free from division of wealth, made one aware about one's body and its limitation, made one wiser to discuss spiritual matters. Okay, what would be the answer? Okay, right? Division of wealth, age, caste, creed. Okay, so that is why prayers were important. When we pray, we just put all our soul, body, everything together. We will not think about what wealth we have, what is the age of ours. Nothing will go. Okay, so it is a kind of a meditation with this. Okay, next question is convince in para 3. Okay, undoubtedly, completely sure, sacred, amicably, completely sure. Attire, cosmos, clothes, creed, yes, clothes. It is clothes. The answer is given in the wrong way. Second one, clothes. Attire means clothes. Abdul Kalam's father was a close friend of Lakshmana, Pakki Lakshmana Shastri. Okay, the priest. Abdul Kalam was the 11th president of India. Muslims offered prayers in the Rameshwaram temple. They never offered prayers in the temple. They offered prayers only in the mosque, but they sat around the Rameshwaram temple and were discussing about spiritual matters. So Abdul Kalam wrote things about the depicts his early life in his own words. Yes. Okay. Find out the members of family in the past, forebearers. Okay. To write about them normally means grandson. Okay. We can also read the next thing about computers. Computers are capable of doing extremely complicated work in all branches. So quick reading will go. We have only 10 more minutes. They can solve the most complex mathematical problems or put 1,000 unrelated data in order. These machines can be put into varied uses. For instance, they can provide information on the best way to prevent prevent traffic accidents. They work to prevent traffic accidents. What traffic accidents? That is information traffic. Okay, that's it. They work accurately at a high speed. They save researchers work years of hard work. This whole process by which machines can be used to work for something called automation. In future, automation may enable human beings to enjoy more leisure than they do today. The coming of automation is bound to have important social consequences. Some years ago, an expert on automation, Sir Leon Bradwick, pointed out that it was a mistake to believe that these machines could think. There is no possibility that human beings will be controlled by machines. Though computers are capable of learning from their mistakes and improving on their performance, they need detailed instructions from human beings to be able to. Okay, that is very important. Okay, only the human beings will has to create a software and provide the data. They can never lead independent lives or rule the world by taking decisions on their own. That is 100% true. Sir Leon said that in future, computers would be developed which would be small enough to be carried in one's pocket. Ordinary people would then be able to use them to obtain valuable information. Computers could be plugged into a wireless network and be used like radios. For instance, people going on holiday could be informed about weather conditions. Car drivers can be given an alternative route. When there is a traffic jam, it will also be possible to make tiny translating machines. This will enable who do not share a common language to talk to each other without any difficulty or to read foreign publications. That is what has been done here. Nowadays we have Google Map. Okay. It is impossible to access the importance of a machine of this sort, for many international misunderstandings are caused simply due to our failure to understand each other. Computers will also be used in ordinary public hospitals by providing a machine with the patient's systems. The doctor will be able to diagnose the nature of illness. That is what has been happening. This is the highest kind of invention in the country. Similarly, machines could be used to keep a check on patients' health, record and bring it up to date. Doctors will therefore have immediate access to great many facts which will help them in their work. Bookkeepers and accountants too could be relieved of dull clerical work. For the tedious task of compiling and checking list of figures could be done entirely by machines. Computers are most efficient servant man has ever had, and there is no limit to the way they can be used to improve our lives. Okay. Now the question and answer. Write out the correct option. There is no possibility that human being can be on their own with no need of machines. There is no possibility that human beings can be on their own with no need of machines. Human beings are likely to be controlled by machines one day. There is no possibility that human beings will ever be controlled by machines. Machines can replace human. Write out the right option. Which would be the right option? That is first option is the correct option. Right out there. Computers can solve only certain mathematical problems. It can solve any mathematical problem. It can solve most complex mathematical problem. Computers can solve only simple mathematical problem. Okay, option 3. Computers can be used to find treatments of personal illness, to prescribe a medicine for the patient, to diagnose the nature of patient, to keep the patient in good health. That is option would be the third option. Question D. Many international misunderstandings are caused due to our failure to understand. Many international misunderstandings are caused due to our failure to understand ourselves, other nations, our friends, each other. That is each other. That is the happening. Antonym for the word complicated is, what is complicated? Synonym is complicated is synonym is difficult. Difficult, easy. Maybe simple. Okay, simple. The verb form, word of alternative. Okay, what would be the verb form? Okay, some words, this is alternative. Alternative idea means adjective. Alternative is an adjective. Okay, right? It's an adjective. Alternative idea. Idea would be the noun. Alternative would be adjective. What is the verb? Altered, late, elate, alternate. Answer the following. In future, that may enable human beings to enjoy more leisure than do today. Computers. Sir Leon Bradwick said in future, that should be developed, should be small enough to carry one pound. What would be developed? What would be developed? Computers. See, automatic computers and the computers. Computers are capable of doing extremely complicated work in all branches of learning. Of course, computers are more inefficient servant than man. Yes, it is false. results, result is consequence, monotonous, dull. Okay. Okay. I just share this, just run through this passage. You can afterwards you can just go through the passage and also see how the answers are right given there. Okay. Delhi has grown. It is about Delhi's growth with the welfare of its children in mind. What is the judgment given by? Okay, there is no space for children. Woman is playing space for children in Delhi. Serious value of human rights of children. Okay, you can just go through. This is all being recorded. You can read afterwards. I will just share this. Pathetic condition where the Delhi roads are not very compatible to the children. So what are the discussions being taken by and what are the decisions being taken by the various road planning or the city planning officials, the officials. Yeah. Draw. Again unafraid of all these videos were trying to in the development. Okay, the answers are also given here. Read the passages and find out the answers. I'm just sharing you all the things. This is about the condition which is in the roads of Delhi, which is not. Next, about one last all passages about the life on our planet began with the sea. It is the birthplace of the earth. Okay, it is about earth. Planktons, algae which live under the sea. The size of the baby holes in the fishing net should be big enough to let the baby fish escape through the net. Plenty. Antonymy must be scarcity. Active. Inactive. Okay, extinct. Inactive. Okay. Good. Now I have shared with you some 8 passages today. Okay, so all these are from the CPC passages. I have shared all the passages with you, and it will be like it is in the YouTube. Anytime you can go scroll through this and read. Okay, read, practice it. Okay, reading is very very important. Read, practice it, and then you can find the answers are also given, so you can just go through the passages again and again, and you can practice like this. Okay, so I will discuss a few passages in the next class also. In the meantime, you can just go through the passages, all the 8 passages shared with you for today. Okay, so thank you so much. I will wind up with this session now, and we will meet in the next class. Thank you so much.